Hi, this is Gina, and I am going to be taking you through the next project in our Any-One art box, and that is our painting with the Eiffel Tower. Everybody say ooh and ah. This is a really fun painting. Like I've said with all the other projects, you're welcome to make this your own. You don't have to use the exact colors we use. I'm going to take you through step by step that you can do your own thing and go off of what I'm doing. You can make it different colors. You can turn it this way instead of this way. So have fun with it. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Again, also you can grab snacks, juice boxes for the kiddos, wine for the adults, and just enjoy. So we have our easel. Again, I'm just using it for each project, and I'm using the canvas for this project instead of the wood piece. You could choose to use the wood piece instead. So I use that for the Monet sunset, but it really, if you prefer that one, you can change it up. And I've got my water with my brush, and I folded up a little bit of a paper towel. So you can use a paper cup, paper towel, and then you've got your palette, and mine's been used by now. But I put a color in each of the wells there, and then I use the rest of it to mix. If you want to mix more and you want to have more room, you can grab a paper plate, which is fine as well. Okay, let's get started. So with the Eiffel Tower, what we're going to do is start with basic shapes on there and get the foundation in the background, and then we'll add. So what I'm going to do is first make a little box, and this is about 2/3 of the way down, and I'm going to make a little box on the left hand side, and then from the top right corner of that I'm going to make a slightly slanted line all the way to the other edge. After that, I'm going to come down to the bottom right corner, and then I'm going to make 3 little archways. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush, and again I'm using my brush on its side to make it flat, and you can even pinch it, dip it in the water, dab it on the paper towel. You want to keep your brush nice and damp, not dripping. And for this, I'm going to use a dark blue. So I'm taking a little bit of my blue, mixing it with that black, and it's going to make this darker blue. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and come down here about 1/3 of the way up and make a box, just a square. And I'm going to turn it for a second just so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, that's going to be the bridge. And then it could be a little bit rectangular as well. And then what I'm going to do is take that top right corner and bring it all the way to the side here, just with a slanted line. Okay, and then I am going to go to this bottom right corner, and again, you're welcome to stop this anytime and take your time on each step. I'm going to go ahead and keep going, but stop, do your steps, resume if that's what, go at the pace that works for you. You have plenty of time to actually really work this out and do what you want, so use that freedom. Okay, so I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to make 3 archways. So just kind of like the McDonald's arches, but it's 3 of them. You could make 1 or 2 if you'd rather, but 3 is a little bit, in crafts or art, you mix it, balance out, and then you can rework those arches if you needed to. Okay, and so that's what we're doing, these 3 arches underneath the bridge. So then just take that dark blue and paint those in while you're there. And I'm just going over the arch. I'm just going to paint that whole bridge in. And during this time, you're welcome to change it up a bit. You know, you can redo your arches. There are no mistakes in art. I'm saying that in every one of my videos, but it's true. And it is true too that most artists don't make one stroke or paint something and leave it. Most, you know, most of the times we work on it and work on it and work on it over and over again. Okay, and so even when you do the water, you can change those up. Okay, so the next part, once you get your bridge in, we're going to do the background up at the top here, the sky. And what we're going to do with this one is take some blue and mix it with a little bit of white. And so it's okay if it's even streaky. So you could take some blue and then not even mix it all the way with the white, and it would be a little streaky. And then what we're going to do is paint the entire top part of the canvas. Everything above the bridge, we're going to paint. And I'm using strokes that go back and left to right, back and forth. I'm just going to cover that whole upper part of the canvas. And again, it's okay if it's a little, you know, streaky. Two, if your paint starts sticking, if you feel like there's just, it's too dry, go ahead and stick it in the water, dab it on the paper towel, and the paint won't stick as much. And keep going. And I've mentioned, I've done some of these videos with my daughter, and she's not doing the videos tonight, but you hear her hamster in the background. And we have this set up in my bedroom. Okay. So I went back and forth, left to right, and made a texture in the sky. You can go back and fill that in if you see. I saw some canvas coming through, which is fine. You know, you can have a little bit of showing if you want. I made that texture left to right, choppy strokes. You could make it smooth by just going all in one direction. Long strokes. These are a little bit shorter strokes. Okay, so we've done the bridge. Now we did the sky, and we're going to paint underneath the bridge now. So we're going to take that black and we're going to go up and down, excuse me, on the rest of the painting. So everything under that bridge is going to be that black. So again, here is another opportunity to change those arches up. You can reshape them. It's fun to have all those different chances to rework it. I like that. And every time I have painted this, and all the times I've done it for all my classes, in-person classes, it's never turned out the same. So really, this is all about you relaxing, having some fun, not being hard on yourself. Just like my other videos, I would usually just say, look at somebody next to you and tell them how amazing their painting looks so far. We don't want you to be critical of yourself. We want you to have fun and just enjoy. Okay, fill in the bridge. So we've got the entire canvas covered, and what we're going to do is let that dry for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to come back. So let yours dry until when you feel it, it's a more dry, and then we're going to add the Eiffel Tower on. Okay, so we've let the painting dry a bit, and we're going to go ahead and make the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to go ahead and use yellow. The Eiffel Tower's in yellow. Again, you can choose a different color if you'd like, but I'm going to use the yellow right away. You can use the blue that you used for the background so it blends in while you're getting the shape correct, and then go back in and add the yellow once you get the lines down with the blue, because that's really easy to, you know, just blend back in and try it again. So the Eiffel Tower is the concept is pretty simple. What we're going to do is basically make this A shape. So if you see over here, right where that line was that you drew the box, you're going to start there and you're going to make an A shape. It's going to be wider at the bottom, come up, an A shape, and then you're going to do the same thing at the bottom. And I try to make it to keep it straight up. So again, you're going to, you know, make the shape and then redo it until you like the look of the whole entire thing. And then once you do that, you're going to come back down, leave a little space for the legs, and then make an arch. So you're going to make an arch here. So you've made your A shape, the arch. Then you're going to come up, skip an inch or so, make a triangle, a long triangle, so that you have, that's going to create a space in the middle, and you're going to have those two sides of the Eiffel Tower. The last part will be that you come in and put a platform here, leave a little space above the arch, put a platform here, one straight across and one straight across up here. So you'll have a little bit of sky bit behind there and a little bit behind there, and then that'll be your Eiffel Tower. And so we're going to paint it in yellow first, and then we go back in outlining it with your black. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and get my yellow, and again start with your blue, and I'm gonna go start right above that line, and I'm going to make that A shape. So that's my first side. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right back up at the top. And make the other side. And the point is that you're trying to make it match somewhat, and keep redoing your lines until you like what it looks like I said. And then once you get the sides the way you like them, I'm going to come down and I'm going to get closer to both sides and make that arch. So it's going to be kind of a shallow arch, making those sides a little bit thinner. But again, you can have fun with this. I've had people that want to make, you know, just the bottom of the Eiffel Tower. I've had them want to make it smaller. Let's see, that makes the basic shape. And then what I'm going to do is come up and leave some space so that you can see that each has a side. You're going to make those sides thicker, but I'm going to make a long triangle in the center. And that is going to be where the sky comes through. And just like I've said, stop this as much as you need to complete the painting and work on a specific part when you're trying to get the sides to match. And doing your Eiffel Tower, you can take a little bit longer. And then I'm going to make a platform, so I'm going right here at the bottom of that triangle. There's still space above the Eiffel Tower. I'm going to make a line there, and I'll make it thicker in a bit, and then go up a couple inches and make one more line. So those platforms. So it just shows some of the ironwork that's on the Eiffel Tower. So once you get that in and the shape that you want, then what you can do is just with small little strokes, just do bright yellow, or if you choose another color, that's fine too. You know, you can play around with it. If you don't like the first color, you can let it dry, go right back over it with a different color. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bright yellow and fill in all of the Eiffel Tower. that I just did. I'm just gonna make it really bright. On the areas that go left to right, I'm gonna make left to right lines, and think the lines that go up and down, I'm gonna make those up and down. And follow along with, sorry, I was out of the camera range. Okay, and then I'm gonna keep doing that. So I'm gonna do the sides like that too. And again, you're kind of trying to match the sides, unless artistically you didn't want to do that. And I'm going to make the platforms a little thicker. Be nice and bright. Kind of went out of the line there. So if you paint something and you're like, ah, that's not what I wanted, just let it dry. You can go right back over it. With acrylic paint, it's very forgiving. Okay. So I think I made the one side a little thicker, so I'm going to go back with blue once it dries and fill that, you know, that side in a little bit, but go through and fill that in. And just lightly, because you don't want to go so deep that it starts mixing with your blue, right? So you're doing it lightly on top. If some of that blue bled through, you didn't wait long enough, no problem. You can finish your Eiffel Tower, and then once it's dry, go back over it with yellow, and it'll be bright yellow for you again. Okay, so we did the Eiffel Tower, and now what we're gonna do is go ahead and make some green trees or bushes. And so what we're gonna do is mix some of that yellow and blue, making the green. You can add white to it if you want them to be a little lighter, the trees. And I'm just gonna start up. You can see on this painting. So on this side, that's gonna go a little higher. And then on this side, it's gonna go higher. And then they're gonna slant down until they get to that line where you made the box. Okay. So I'm gonna start higher. I'm gonna kind of go over my Eiffel Tower, and I'm just dabbing. They're just little round bushes all the way down, or trees, all the way down to the bridge. You can see that on this side. And it's just overlapping the Eiffel Tower, and then I'm going to make them lower and lower until I get over that, until I get over the line, and then I'm going to bring it back up so that it's a little higher on the other side. And if you want to, you can make that, mine's a little light, you can make it darker if you'd like, you can keep it light. I know everybody has their own preferences. There's a lot of leeway here and a lot of room for creativity. So again, have fun with it. You can add a little blue on there just to give it some depth. Okay, you see that. And again, I'm going to go back and go over my Eiffel Tower, but it's coming together. So the next part that we're going to do are the lights. So we have these little lights. This is dark time. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. But if you wanted to make a different amount, you can. And what we're going to do is make little circles, red circles above the bridge. And again, we're starting higher on the left and go 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. So it goes, dips down and then dips back up just slightly. So it's going to be above the bridge in the trees. So I'm taking the corner, flatten my brush. I'm going to take the corner of my brush and just make these little red circles. So we're going to make the red circles, and right after we're going to put yellow right on it. Okay, so then I'm going to come down, and again, they're in the trees, right by the trees. And like I said, if you want to do 5, you could do 5. I might even just do 5 this time. It angles down a bit, and then you come back up. So I'm just going to do 5 this time. And then right after, I'm going to dip that same brush. You don't even have to rinse it off. And I'm going to dip it in the yellow and just go right over the red so that it has a little mix, and you've got that light where it mixes with the yellow and red. It's pretty cool looking. Then you're going to go underneath your where your bridge is. So it's black, it's dark under there, and I'm just getting mine a little bit more solid so you can take some time and make sure yours is solid when you first paint it, as it's dark under there. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the tip of my brush, and right underneath where that light was, I'm going to go underneath the bridge, underneath the arches, and start there and make little lines. So it's going to end up looking like this. But if you can see, the lights are underneath the tunnel, underneath the bridge, because light wouldn't show up in those dark tunnels. It would be completely pitch black. So you go underneath them, start there, and these are just the streaks of light. And then you go under each light. So if you made, you know, I made 5, so I have 5 streaks. And then right after, with that red, you go underneath with the yellow and go right over the streak with the yellow. Whoop, like that. So you're just going right there with the streak. Okay. It's really coming together. And then what the last part that I'm going to do, well, for this one, what I was going to do is straighten up the Eiffel Tower here. So I'm just painting over it with a little bit of blue on that side that I felt like was a little thicker than the other one. So super easy to adjust and do that. Then what I'm going to do is go ahead and take brown, or not brown, black, and lightly line the Eiffel Tower. So you can see right here that the streaks, so you can even make it gray if you want to mix it with a little bit of white so it's not so dark. But I just outlined it with this dark black, a couple lines in each of the platforms, and then outline the whole thing on the outside. You don't have to do this part, but it just defines it a little bit more. But if you push really hard and you make it really dark, it's a little harder to change that, right? So if you start lighter, you can always add more, but if you go the other direction, it's harder to change that. So I'm just going to flatten my brush real good on both sides, get some of that paint and use it on its side so it's thin. And I'm going to line, I'm just going to go through and line really lightly the Eiffel Tower. So you're just going to pay attention to your lines and go down each one and line it. I'm going to go underneath it too. And then on the platforms, I'm going to go over there too and just line it. Okay. So that is the finished product. Maybe similar to this, but a little different. You can go back and you can add more to the bridge. You know, you can add light blue, a little bit more dark blue. You can add more to the sky. You can add more to the Eiffel Tower if you'd like to experiment with that. But this has been so much fun. Thank you for joining us again for painting the Eiffel Tower, and have a really blessed week. Thank you so much. Mwah.